What's going on, Billy Goat Tales fam? We're back for another episode of our Sunday live show. And so it's August 17th, a day after my daughter's birthday, and we're fired up for a jam-packed crypto live stream. We're dropping alpha left and right. Arthur Hayes' $16 million altcoin spree, ETH's wild ride, Grayscale's Doge Coin ETF push, and OKB's insane 100%, 70% pump. Is it time to buy or sell? Our chart wizard, Magic Internet Money, should be here with us today. He's going to break some of that down. Plus, we've got a lake house giveaway that we're going to continue to talk about each week. We're going to be giving you a little bit of info on the final fantasy football draft that we're entered in. At least a few of our team members are entered in, and a sneak peek into some other information as well. Like we've got this Frankie Candles premium Discord giveaway that we're going to draw today. Sadly, CryptoBilly and Jimbo Fett couldn't be with us today, but they're out there stacking sats and cheering us on. So let's kick this off, BGT fam. So what's going on, crew? What's going on, Dave Digital? How are you doing today?
Oh, you know how it is. When the cat's away, the mice will play. So let's get into it. We've been cutting up behind the scenes. We're really excited today. Been in this dang trade for a long time. Bitcoin has been going sideways, and I have to figure out what I'm going to do. It looks like we may get a 1 hour trigger wave, so I may have to take a long on that. But we'll have to just see. Time will tell.
Yep. How about you, Redman?
Just thankful for another day not promised. Sunday fun day, and welcome to the greatest crypto show in the interwoozle, as Andy says. Back over to you. Tex-Mex, Biomex.
All right, let's jump into the interwoozle and see what's going on. How about we start by saying hello to everybody who's in the chat, Dave?
Alexandra G, Jesse, Pullman, K-Diggs, Mike V, Dutchy, Andy, and the entire Billy Goat Tales community makes my heart warm. Hashtag Givers Gain.
All right. Billy had to jump in there and say hello.
All right.
We've got Mike Bulmer in the chat. He said, damn it, YouTube rugged his emojis, his goal. Oh, his number one again. Then Red's in the chat. Andy says, happy Sunday, fam. Happy Sunday to you, Andy. We got Dark Crash drinking the water. He's got the 5th like. He said, given the stage situation, I will likely sit this one out. Sounds all right. Appreciate you being here, Dark Crash. He said, let me see what we got here. Redman then just filled it up, trying to take the lead. There's Andy saying her emojis are missing. Squirrel Shine Bob in the chat. We were having a little discussion about his characteristics in the behind the scenes, but we're going to leave that behind the scenes. Hello to Jesse. I know you're healing well. We've got less than 11 weeks left for Jesse to get healed. I hope that is all going well. K-Diggs are in the chat, already screaming to open the club. K-Diggs got his party pants on. Trade Intuition is in the chat. He is staying away from all the magnets. No magnets for Trade Intuition. No magnet chat for him. Let me see, who else do we have? Good to see you, Trade Intuition, Joe. Randy Avite is in the chat. Hi, Randy. Good to see you. And we got Crypto Coin Mindset. Keith behind the moniker there. Good to see you, Keith. Good to see all your content. Always working so hard. Hey, look at it. Jesse says he's walking already. Jesse, slow it down. Get some sleep. You know you need to take your time, but we are proud. We're excited about your recovery. All right. Shoot it back over to you, Tony.
All right. Go ahead and play it for the people. Dave.
When I'm with Billy, I get tingles inside. I mean, hashtag Givers Gain.
I love the facial expressions.
I love
that. What's that?
I was just saying, I love it. It's so fun. So many toys now.
Dave's been having a lot of fun. Obviously, many of you probably, if you haven't already, caught yesterday's In Simple Terms or the Simple Terms podcast. If you haven't caught it yet, go and watch it. I'm actually going to go watch it tonight. I've been super busy prepping some stuff, had some different meetings with some folks that we're doing, and to prepping some opportunities for us and the team, and hopefully to support you all out there later on. So I'm looking forward to catching the replay. Plus, you all know that I'm usually up late. I think I'm usually up till 4 or 5 in the morning. So 8 in the morning on Saturdays, Dave, I sleep in a little bit, but I know that everybody in here probably enjoyed it, that we're able to join. And if you haven't, catch it afterwards. What were you talking about this last week or
We
yesterday?
did. Yeah, we dove into the Bitcoin white paper. So the
Ooh,
basics of where we all started, the Bitcoin white paper. And it's exciting for me. And I know that time slot, maybe it's not good for some, but for me, I love to get up early on Saturday morning. I love to go on and get into whatever I'm going to do and then get it done. So I have the rest of the day to do other things. But I love that time slot. I love the feel. I love the people that come in and join us. I look forward to all the future episodes. I mean, there's so much that we can do, just like we were talking behind the scenes earlier. I mean, it's just a wider range of stuff. It doesn't just have to be white papers, although we will focus heavily on white paper for, probably the first 10, 15 episodes, but we're able to branch off into any topic that we decide to dig into. So it's going to be fun. We're excited. And we just kind of changed the name behind the scenes too. It's now Simple Terms Podcast rather than the In Simple Terms Podcast. It's just the Simple Terms Podcast. So awesome.
Yeah. We'll talk about more why we did that. I mean, it's easy to figure that out later on.
Yeah, I've actually got the jam loaded. We'll go ahead and play that. I see you're doing some few things. Give you a couple more seconds and we'll get the chat to vote. Tell me if they like this feel or they like more of a rap upbeat feel. Let me know, chat. Here comes the In Simple Terms Podcast theme song.
In simple terms, we break it down. Complex stuff, we make it sound clear and easy for you and me. Billy Goat Tales and Dave Digital bring knowledge we share. In simple terms, we're everywhere. We love you, fam. Hashtag givers gain.
Yeah, I love that.
All righty. Welcome back up. And I'll pull Tony back up. It looks like you got a green screen, Tony.
Hey. Oh,
you caught me I was trying to move. You guys caught me on the transition. I should have had it set up before. Anyways,
live TV, right? Yeah.
Live
so
TV. Why don't we see what Redman's got on the bubbles? What do you say, Redman?
Let's go. Let me get out of the screen here. All right. Well, looks like this is on the hourly, so we're getting a little bit of pump on the hourly. We got Pump.Fun up 2.2%. They're up one spot, 1.25 billion market cap. That's Pump.Fun. High risk play. Invest at your own risk. Hex is up 6.2. I'm just gonna say because it's a big bubble. I'm not really a big Hex man. I rich or hurt, it is what it is. But they're up one spot to number 81. Market cap's 1.15 billion. Congratulations to the Hex fan. Looked like they're having a good year. Let's go on to something else here. Arrow's up 1% in the hourly. Arrow's up 57% for the month. So to all the Arrow people out there, congratulations. $1.25 billion market cap. They're at number 76 for Arrow Finance. Let's see what else we got going on here. Anything else notable? I'm not really seeing much. Let's go on to the daily. Daily tells a different story. So we got Link, the Link Marines. Link, I told you about this a couple weeks ago. Watch Link. Link is going to be a mover. And man, they're up 13.3% on the daily. Rank is now 11. Their market cap $7.4 billion. Congratulations if you invested in Link. Let's see what else is out there. OKB. We're going to go into this in the show a little bit. I'm not going to talk too much about it now. Polygon. Polygon got a little bit of resurgence going on here in the Polygon and the Matic ecosystem, up 4.3% for the day. They're up one spot to number 45, $2.24 billion market cap. That is previously Matic is now Pole. So congratulations to the Pole people. We got SEI. Say's got a little bit of a bullish structure here. Looks like it's getting a little bit of retrace, but nothing big. It's up 5.7% on the daily. It's up 2 spots to number 51. Market cap is 2.06 billion. Congratulations to the Say people. Looks like it could definitely go higher, but that's not financial advice. We got virtual protocols. They're up 8.2% for the daily, hitting $1.34. They're up 6 spots to number 97, trying to claw back some of those losses they had throughout the year. Congratulations to the virtual people. $849 million market cap. They're at number 97. We got Dot. Hey, Dot's little bubble today. There we go. 3% for Dot. It's up to $4.18.
Look
Sitting
how
at rank
cute.
number
Dot's blowing
24.
bubbles.
Polka Dot making moves. Polka Dot. Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. ADA, 3.7% on the daily. ADA sitting at rank number 9, $34.69 billion market cap, sitting at 95 cents. Congratulations to the Cardano people out there. Cardano. Let's see what else we got here. We got Injective making a little bit of moves. 5.5% on the daily. Ranked number 66, 1.51, trying to claw back all those losses throughout the year. It's still negative 13.2%. Keep your britches on. 13.2% in the negative. And let's see here for the weekly. What do we got? OKB, like I told you before, this thing's not going away. I mean, we'll talk about it later, but man, this thing is really popped off. Let's see here. Mantle up three spots to number 31. They're up 25.8% for the week. Mantle, congratulations to the Mantle people. Up 3 spots to number 31. $4.36 billion market cap. Mantle making a statement here. I like to see it. I like to see. What else we got? We got Flare. Oh, we haven't talked about Flare in a while. We got rank number, it's up 6 spots to number 58, $1.82 billion market cap. It's up 11.1% for the week, 27.3 for the month. We got some consolidation in here with a little bit of pump action at the end. It's up 67% for the year. Congratulations to the Flare people. Let's see how the monthly looks real quick. The monthly, pretty much the same as last week, other than a few notables in here. Arrow, 57%. We already went over that one before. Pretty much the same. Pretty much. Yep. Crow, 28.5. Yeah, it's kind of where they were at last week. Yep. For the yearly. Yep. Pretty much the same there on the year. Tsui up 366%. It's up 21 spots to number 1. Number 14. That's another one that I told you to look out for a couple weeks ago. Tsui will make some moves. Tsui doing real well. XRP doing real well. Holding strong at $3.54. Up 4 spots to number 3 for XRP. $183 billion market cap. It's up 448% for the year. No biggie. HBAR up 334% for the year. It's up 23 spots to number 17. Congratulations to the H Barbarian people. And that's pretty much all I got for you, Tony. Tony?
All right.
There he is.
Busted. So it looks like we have Tony is taking a little bit of
real quick,
break
Dave,
now.
Dave, real quick. I just want to remind everybody out there, go ahead and go on our Twitter page, Billy Goat Tales Twitter page. If you could like and retweet the stream, let's get it out there to all your friends. Let them know we're here. We are large and in charge, and here he is, Tony the Man.
Oh, how you doing? Yeah, we So why did the altcoins go to therapy, guys?
Why?
Because they had too many ups and downs.
Oh,
there we go. So we're going to get into our first topic of the day. Talking about ETH price target news. And so, look, there's been a lot of volatility. There's been institutional demand, whale accumulation, all that resistance. What do you all have to say about that, chat? Let us know. We'll, of course, bring your comments up on the screen, but talk a little bit about that. So the snapshot, where did ETH hit this last week? It was over 4,800, right?
No, we didn't get
Or
there.
was it close to that?
We
I
got
know
to
it
45.
passed
I heard him
40.
say, let me pull up ETH and we'll find that.
Ever since I started doing some more, just setting up my bots, I really honestly haven't been looking at the charts as much personally, but spot ETFs pulled in 2.3 billion over the last 6 days.
4.7K,
So it looks like just short.
Tony.
Yeah, 4.797 is what I've got on.
There you go.
So
4797.
just shy of the all-time high with a big pullback. I mean, we're just going to have to see what happens, but I mean, just the golden pockets at the 3,800 range.
Oh, somebody Allset's talking about clipping that. I don't know which part. We love it. So yeah, I mean, ETH's pumped in. We had spot ETFs pulling in over $2.3 billion over the last 6 days. BlackRock's ETHA fund with 10.5 billion. It's the strongest month since the ETF launch, fueling some demand. And what Standard Chartered eyed 7,500 by Q4 and 25,000 by 2028. Elliott Wave analyst projected 9,000 by Q1 2026. So I don't know. There's a lot of bullish signals. Whales grabbed up 470,000 ETH last week. And so what do you all think? What are your takes on the moves and all that? Red, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Just looking at the chart, the trend is my friend, right? So, man, this thing in January, I mean, well, that's January 23. I'm looking at the daily chart here, but it looks like in August, I mean, it was $3,400. Now it's sitting at 4,400. Man, that's $1,000 increase in 1 month. That's pretty bullish. Actually, I'm hearing more and more about companies starting their own ETH strategic reserve. So I was actually approached by somebody over the last week that wants to start a strategic reserve, Ethereum strategic reserve for their company. So a lot of bullishness out there. And when it starts hitting you in the face, like your friends start talking to you about it, that's when you know it's super bullish. So I sent it back over to you, Tony. Dave Digital. I know Dave got something to say about ETH.
Yeah, so with my bias aside, just looking at the chart, I'm going to have to show the side that, yeah, it does look super bullish. I have to agree with you, but it looks like it could be, I mean, it could get a significant pullback before it gets its next move up. Now, the money flow on the daily looks good. But if you look, what's likely to happen, right? So if you take your fib and you pull it from the most recent low to the high on the daily, right? And this is where you're going to get your golden pocket in your 786, and you can see right where that lines up. It lines up with a value area high and a POC. So it wouldn't be unlikely for ETH to come back, test those recent highs, and then go. It doesn't have to happen. I mean, it could just hit 42, or it could pull back to 4,000. 4,000 is a good psychological level. It could do any of that. But I mean, what we would like to see is it to retest these highs again, in the 3,800 range, and then go from there. That's what I would like to see. I don't know what necessarily you guys would like to see, but I want to see the full structure. I want to see the strength rather than, it just goes from here, which is even way below the 382. So that's my thoughts on it. But I do think it's got a lot higher to go. I think it's going to at least take all-time highs and probably get to 1.618.
You think in the short term it's got a little bit of overbought risk? I mean, it's nearing it's faced some resistance around 43.5 and 4,700 historically. You think we might have a little bit of pullback before it continues, especially if not just ETH but all the other alts, right? They may be taking off as well. So
yeah, I think so. I mean, if you look there, you've got bearish divergence, that's formed on the daily, which is it's a high time frame. So in a bullish situation, bearish divergence gets blown through, but normally mainly on lower time frames. But the money flow is telling the story that, it's still strong. It's still thick. Let's go up a couple. Yeah, the money flow is thick on a lot of time frames. So it's just now crossing on the 4-day. On the weekly. That's super strong.
We're still waiting on rate cuts. So if we do get rate
that's
cuts,
September.
Yeah, in September. Yeah, that's coming up. That's a couple months down the road. A month down the road.
Couple months. It's
a month.
Think it's 13 days down the road.
Yeah.
So September is coming pretty quickly, but 2 weeks is a long time in crypto. So a lot of things can happen in that 2 weeks.
Yep. So why are ETH holders so confident? They've got all their stakes in the game. You got to come up with those little symbols. I don't know if I should stop all these jokes, chat. You got to let me know. You got to let me know if I need to cut them out. The team is just like shaking their head. I'm sure Billy's shaking his head. But anyways.
I think it's great, Tony.
Okay. Yeah, it's great, Tony. Even if we shake our head, that doesn't mean it should deter you.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, you know what I forgot to do is go into CoinMarketCap. So why don't we jump back into that? And
just 1 second, Tony. I was in another window.
No worries, brother.
So you are ready for the market update? Is what you're saying, sir?
Oh. Bingo. All right. So before we jump into that, we are going to be drawing at the end of the stream this Frankie Candles Premium Discord giveaway. This was we talked about this. We took some names from those that came up on stage and asked questions during the stream, and so these are our these are our contestants, our entries into that giveaway. So we will be doing that drawing today. I just wanted to share that with you all. And so now let me get over to the CoinMarketCap. So last week we last week we were just shy of the 4.01 trillion market cap, but we have now surpassed 4 trillion. Is that the first time? I'm not sure if that's the first time. Maybe chat, you can let me know in the chat. I don't want to say things incorrectly, but I'm also not going to go research it right now. So, but we have passed 4 trillion at 4.01 trillion, up almost 1%. The altcoin index is at 47. It was at 39, I believe, last week. It was in the 30s last week, I recall. So we're jumping back up, and I think you said 75 is what we need to hit, right, Redman?
To really. No, you're right, Tony. We're sitting, that 4.16 trillion. That's the highest we've ever been.
Awesome. Fear and greed has jumped up to 57%. See if it. No, it opened a new window. Let me share that. So fear and greed is up.
I was just going to tell you, we got a message in chat that says B-Dub is already in the Frankie Candles Premium.
Oh, well, there you go. So he's already in there. We'll figure that out. Maybe we can figure if we need to. If he wins and he wants to give it away, then I don't know. We'll have to figure out how we're going to manage that.
We can trade him for a kick in the shin.
True. Maybe we can just send him some crypto for the amount that it costs for 1 month. I'm not sure how we want to handle that at the moment, and might have to refer back to Billy. Maybe Billy will jump in later and let us know. But we're at let's see, on the 30-day. Last week is right around here, right? So we're hovering right around 57 on the fear and greed, moving up and down a little bit. But let's go back to our normal tab. All right, so we got Bitcoin at 117 and Ethereum currently at 44.69. XRP over $3. You can see these little charts here. It's been moving. Most things have been moving quite a bit. BNB at 852. Solana at 191. Are we going to see $300 Solana? I don't know. Dogecoin at 0.023. Dogecoin's on our talking points today, so we'll get a little bit more into that. Cardano, actually, not Cardano. I think there is a Cardano coin. So Cardano is almost at $1. I can't wait till we get over $1. I'd love to see some all-time highs this year. Of course, I'm a big Cardano fan, but I love the chain for what it's doing, not necessarily always for the price. And so continue to build on Cardano. So that's our coin market cap recap. I know, Red, you did such a great job diving into a lot of the coins on the bubbles, and I appreciate you doing that. Very thorough. So we will go on to the next topic. We already talked on topic 1 a little bit on ETH. Did you guys have any more that you wanted to touch on about ETH?
I mean, the big thing is the ETF, right? The ETF. With the ETF, we get that seal of approval from the institutions. And so that's outstanding for crypto because we know all the profits are going to trickle down into the lower cap altcoins. It's good for crypto, and it'll be good, like you mentioned, with Doge. If Doge does get their ETF, if Solana gets their ETF, if Cardano is now in the conversation, if they get their ETF, it's just good for crypto to get that institutional stamp of approval on your bags, So I think especially with the inflows with ETH, it could definitely reach a lot higher than where it's at right now. And we still have 4 months left in this cycle. So I think ETH can go a lot higher. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, man. I mean, the fact of the matter is, regardless of my opinion on ETH, they position themselves really well in the market, right? So regardless of what I think about them, there's a lot of people with a lot of stake in the game. There's a lot of companies that build on ETH. There's a lot of traction that ETH has. Regardless of what I think about their politics, regardless of what I think about Vitalik and his assets or his habits to eat boogers or whatever it is that I don't like about it, there's so much behind it. It's done right. I mean, and I did watch a documentary on Vitalik the other day, and it said his whole plan was, I'm just waiting. I'm just building this so other people can build. And I know that other people will build on it. And then I'm just waiting for them to do that. And so that's exactly what's happening. Just people are building. And now it's been so long with their position that nobody else they're not going to run from it. Most of the people aren't going to just run. They're going to leave what's working and let it work, And I don't think that they're going to run from the platform, regardless of what I want, regardless of these other options that are better. I still think that there are people that are just ETH is their thing. That's where they started. They have the fondness, just like I have a lack of fondness for ETH. They have a fondness. And even on a personal level, we want ETH to do good because we have people on our team that are heavily invested in ETH. So we want them to do good. So I can't wait to see an 8K ETH. But in the same time, I don't want anybody to sell ETH just because of my sour position. I would hate to see Jimmy sell his ETH because he heard me say that I hate it so bad at 8K and then it goes to 108K. That would make me feel bad. But I do think ETH, they've done a lot of things right. Even though there's some things that I didn't know. They've done a lot of things right and they're in a good position.
Yeah, man. Well, Redman, you want to do a little bit of your let's talk a little bit about the children's books. We'll let you touch on that. We're not going to run our promo video, folks. We're going to have a new promo video out for our kids' books here shortly. But Red, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Billy Goat Tales children's book? And then I think we have a special coming on.
Yeah, I can do that. So if you go ahead and go to Billy Goat Tales Twitter page, you're going to see a link tree here. And links are in, right, Tony?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They're in the shop.
They're in the shop. So if you click over here to shop, you got my children's books right here, and it's right next to Billy's. So there you go. Boom. All you got to do is just click on these books. They're both the same price. If you want to teach your kids about good investment habits, blockchain, Bitcoin, it's all in both my book and Billy's book. It's our way of giving back to the kids. We believe in givers gain, and this is our way of giving back. And I love the animation in my book and Billy's book. And that's pretty much it. That's how we are giving back to our community. And you can find all that through Billy Goat Tales Twitter page. So there's also a link for 2bit on there. There's join the Discord is on there. So go ahead and follow us on Twitter and give our live stream a like and a follow. I see 5 of you have already liked it. 4 people have retweeted it. Thank you so much. That's what helps us out more than anything, guys. So we appreciate your support. Back over to you.
We love you, fam. Hashtag givers gain.
Thanks, Dave.
Dave's got so many for you all
Dave's
today. I
picking me
can't
up
wait. I don't know. Who came up with that sound? I'm going to have to start repeating it. Well, Dave, we've got our special guest waiting in the wings. Do you have a promo ready?
Yeah, just let's bring him up. We got Magic Internet
Magic.
Money coming up. You may know him from Sin City Crypto. He's definitely a recurring guest on there. He's one of our favorites. And this is the time of year whenever we get his opinion, because his strategy is a little bit different from everybody else's. He may not be in and out all day long like everybody else, but he's got a plan, and we're about to find out what that plan is. So welcome.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Magic Internet Money. What's going on, bro?
Oh, it's been a long weekend. Been moving friends all weekend, so I'm happy to be out of the sun.
Wait a minute. Hold up. I didn't realize that it was that kind of stream, bro. So if we're going guns out,
Let's go. I just got home like 15 minutes ago, man. I was like, I'll change now. It'll be all right. I'll throw a hat on. We'll call it a day. Let's go.
I'm with you.
Sun's out, guns out.
If that's how the guests come, that's how we come, right?
That's right.
So what do you got over there? You're not doing much on your channel anymore, huh? You're just doing stuff on other channels and in the back scenes?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of hang out. One thing about cycle to cycle stuff, having done content through multiple cycles now, is people overtrade bull runs, in my opinion. And I try not to do that. I really try to scale it back and give the big high time frame picture and just say, hey, here's our invalidation zone. Could this be a high here? Sure, we don't know, but as long as we don't go below this, we should be holding this risk on asset type thing. That's kind of my mindset on it. That way you're not, you're not in and out as much, and people tend to make mistakes. Eventually the market will get you, it is what it is.
This is the part of the market whenever you start, what do you call it? Hedging, even though you're taking shorts that are huge, right? And you're getting ready to run them all the way to the bottom.
Yeah. Sometimes you get that opportunity, and there's a few of those that, I've taken where I'm like, okay, this is a good hedge. But you always want to identify at least one spot where you can lock something in. So that way, if it does run back on you and you get stopped out, it's not like a for nothing position. But yeah, I do start considering hedges, especially now that we are where we are. Time wise is, we're getting close to the traditional Bitcoin cycle timeline. We're 40 days out or something like that, or 45 days away from that normal 4-year cycle. So
Yeah. And so are you similar to Jason Casper? So he doesn't hold all of his Bitcoin for the whole time, right? He does keep some. That's his, his guarantee bag, but he has a plan. He knows from the bear market that his plan is for this run. I think it was 60, 80, 100, and 120K. That's when he was selling 100% of the Bitcoin that he was going to sell. And now he's done that. Do you have those type of bags too?
I do for alts, but when it comes to Bitcoin, sorry, I'm gonna take the phone out of my pocket because it's been in there all day. When it comes to Bitcoin, my strategy is a little different. I am actually more of I've been the OG Michael Saylor for a long time. I don't really sell my Bitcoin. Right. What I do like to do when I say hedge is I'll take a small percentage of what I own and I'll hedge for downside. So that way I'm not just eating drawdown. Last bear market, I was able to basically run that all the way to the lows. I didn't catch the exact high, but I was able to short from right around 50K all the way down to 18. So that was nice. And I actually made more money on the way down than I do on the way up because I created more Bitcoin with a little bit of leverage and using a very small portion of my portfolio, never more than 15% of capital. So, but that allows me to hedge against drawdown risk. But I'm a big proponent of stacking it. What I've been doing is I have a business outside of this. That's part of what I was doing today was, refurbish things and, make $1,100 today. Right. I take that money and I actually invest it into things not just for me, but my children that are outside of crypto. And I go and I get ETFs that pay dividends and things like that long term that I can invest in and kind of divest out of one risk on asset and have others that are going to pay me. So there's always kind of a a broader picture, I guess. I try to be well-rounded if I can.
What type of things are you refurbishing?
This one was a leather sofa, believe it or not. It was like a $6,000 custom leather sofa.
That's right on topic, isn't it? That's your brand, isn't it? The leather sofa.
Yeah, with the only couches thing. Yeah. The what was it? The casting couch. Yeah. But I started selling sofas like before it was popular back in like 2019, 2020 era. And I did that whole bit, and it's something that I've done on and off. But I mean, for me, if I really dive into it, even as just a side hustle, like it'll generate close to 6 figures. So it's still worth doing, and I've gotten pretty good at it and identifying what's, profitable and what's not.
Yeah. So, when your trading strategy doesn't keep you locked in the charts all day.
I used to trade hundreds of times a month, and I got fat, and I just noticed my quality of life wasn't as good mentality wise. I gained like 30 pounds. I just wasn't into it. So
that's the truth. So what is it you want to go over with us today? You want to go over with your long-term, or you want to go over what's going on right now?
We can do a little bit of both. Yeah, we can do a little bit of both. We'll talk about like how if I were to take intra-week trades, like I have a pretty different strategy from other people on how I look at like a weekly candle and dissect it versus other things. And I can start there, and then we can talk about high time frame stuff. So let me see. Where is the share the chart?
Should begin down there, for example, or 5. Yeah.
These 2 monitors, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, this is very similar to what I'm used to. Perfect.
Sweet.
Okay, so let's get rid of some of the stuff on here. We'll kind of start fresh so that we can all kind of have a nice little class here. And I'll get rid of some of this macro stuff. We'll talk about that in a minute. And this needs to go. Okay, so obviously I have a blue box here that I'm just looking at in like intraday support. But if we were to zoom in a little bit, I guess, to the weekly chart, I say zoom in, even though that's fairly high time frame. Are you guys familiar with what an inside bar is?
Tell us.
Okay, so we actually just had one right here. So this is an inside bar. Okay, and what makes it an inside bar is you can see it didn't take the high or the low. You can expect about 10 of those out of the 52 that you're going to get in terms of weekly candles in a year. So it doesn't happen that often. We just had one. So you actually have only had one scenario in Bitcoin's history where you had 2 inside bars on a weekly time frame in a row. So you have a pretty high likelihood of knowing you're going to take the high or the low in the next candle, which we've already done and accomplished. What you can then do is start dissecting the current candle like this. And you can see you've got your 0.5 here. I'm going to get rid of this because that was for something else. And we can start looking at it and saying, okay, coming into next week, I'm going to extend this over just so that it's, they changed this up. Extend to the right. We know that if we're above or below the EQ is a pretty good barometer on if you're going to take the current weekly low or weekly high. And I'm going to actually turn them on so that you can see those values. So this is your current weekly low, current weekly high. And we know going into next week that we're probably going to take one of those two. Statistically speaking, it's a very high probability actually that you're going to be about 80% likely to, either cross 116.804 or cross 124.550. It's our job as traders, if we were going to trade something like this, to determine where do those probabilities lie. And using something as basic as the EQ is actually quite handy. So living below this would put quite the emphasis on that when we come into next week, we're very likely to probably make a new low. When it happens, it's oftentimes a very good opportunity to take a trade. So in the instance that it occurs and you haven't tapped something like the EQ here already, like let's say it just rallies into this and rejects and then takes it, that can happen. But if you take this first, your likelihood of actually hitting this generally is a little over 60%, which is not a bad statistical proposition when you think about trading. And you're not even looking for reactions at that time. You're just blindly trading it with those numbers. I would always advise to look at the reaction, but neither here nor there. You guys know I'm a pivot guy. This is your weekly pivot. That's where this box kind of stems from. And there's like a local gold pocket there. But then you can start looking at saying, where's my next weekly pivot, which is right here. We'll get rid of the other one so that there's no confusion. You can see it's coming in pretty close to the EQ. So these are going to hit with about 80% likelihood. Varies a little bit per 100, but usually it's between 77 and 82% that these get met at some point next week. So if we get a sweep of the low, you're looking to trade this back into your incoming weekly pivot, which generates in like 3 or 4 hours, and the EQ. So you were saying that, well, I'm looking to take this trade essentially into this zone. And if I was a, long position trader, I'm looking to target the low here upon reclaim, and I'm looking to do something like this basically. And you can see that you can vary your stop loss, obviously, to have different risk to reward. But, this is the general idea. And all you're doing is you're just playing off the dynamics of the market, knowing that we're probably going to take the high or the low. And it could be vice versa, where if, the roles were reversed here and we're at the highs, it's actually it's a completely different trade when doing the short version of this, where you're doing this and you're trying to short into this region, because even though it gets hit, it's a little trickier. Going through and running the numbers, it's much more advantageous to take the low and take the long than it is the short. Some of it has to do with, Bitcoin being, I wouldn't say an up only asset, but historically speaking, the chart is very up and to the right. So, longs are generally a little bit more favorable. Shorts are, not impossible by any means, and you can get some really good ones. It's just, they're a little trickier. So, that's kind of how I look at it right now. So that's why I don't really sweat the weekend too much. I know that coming into next week, I've got to set up almost no matter what. One very interesting thing about something like this weekly EQ here, this 50% level from the prior session, is once you start closing above it on like a 4-hour closing basis, the chances of taking the high start going up significantly, meaning that you might rotate the range. And so that's where things, you can really start to draw a line of where's my bias? Are we going to make new highs? Well, I know that above this 50% mark, those chances increase substantially. So I would say this is my target. Could be a rejection zone, or if reclaimed, it could be a confirmation that I'm going to see a new high this week. So that's kind of how I look at the low time frames. You can do the same thing with the monthly. I track this on most time frames, as you guys know. I keep track of. So low time frame, I don't sweat it too much. Another really cool setup that I've been introducing to the guys in the group that do want to day trade or want to trade on the weekends because they're busy. It's not always what I want to do, but if you guys make a new weekly low on a weekend or a weekly high on a weekend, okay? So the low of these candles or the high of these candles for each week actually almost always comes in Monday through Friday. If you take it on the weekend, you have an upwards of 80% chance of turning around and taking that high or low that came in on the weekend for that weekly candle very quickly. Like a lot of times it's almost right at market open. So new weekly highs or new weekly lows that come in on the weekend are pretty suspect. Just FYI, like for just a general trader, for anyone that is out there that is listening, and you can back test it, So I do things like that where I know that because we made a weekly low on Friday, right? That was our low of the week, it came in here, and that this was already identified support to me because I believe it was this local gold pocket. I'm just adding to my object tree here, indiscriminately, because I need to clean it up is I guess the point I'm trying to make. But you can see you got like a local gold pocket. Your weekly pivot was here. I believe there was like a value area here as well, if you were to like zoom out a little bit or zoom in on like a lower time frame range. So I knew that this would be support, and that if we're much less likely to make a new low over the weekend, because it doesn't happen that often. I believe you're somewhere in the mid 60 percentile likelihood that it won't happen, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's 1 out of every 3 times that it could happen. And to me, those are pretty good odds. So I'm much more apt, if I was going to trade over the weekend, to start trading range bound, like just assuming that the low is in, because statistically speaking, it is, for that, at least for that next 48 hours, and just trading back to something like an average, which could be your incoming pivot, or if you're into like volume profile, which I imagine most of your audience is, you'd be looking at something like a weekly profile. You'd be saying, okay, I know that the weekly likelihood of a new low, because this came in during Monday through Friday, is low. I'm willing to trade this range and look for the point of control here. And that gives you like a weekend trade, that you're probably going to win upwards of 60% of the time if you just blindly trust those statistics, because they're statistics, right? Doesn't mean the R to R is always going to be there. Obviously, you can't just it's very difficult to blindly trade things, but that's really where I've gravitated towards over the last few, probably 2 years. If you guys have followed me at all on my Twitter, it's spending less time to get similar results and not just be plugged into the chart all day. Because I believe you should be outside enjoying life and hanging out with family and doing that stuff. But this is hard to get away from. It is fun. So, that's been my goal, and kind of like what I'm trying to accomplish with people, is giving them strategies that they can kind of plug and play. They're backed solely by percentages and likelihood, and, less about just having to be like right there in the moment. But yeah, I mean, this is actually a long that I'm in, to be upfront with you guys. I took the long when we were coming down into this on Friday, knowing that this would likely serve as support. I took a little intro like week long, and I've been in it just hoping to maybe get up to the point of control here. And if I get that opportunity, I'll take profit. If it comes down and stops me out, I'm willing to take this long again on a reclaim because I know the likelihood of coming back to these targets is decent. So I'm not afraid to retake that trade. And that might be the only trade I take that week, to be honest with you guys. So yeah, a lot of different ways to do it. I just like to kind of keep it simple for myself. Let me know if that tracks, by the way, because I know that explaining things and, if you guys have questions, feel free to fire away.
I think it is making sense, and you're right. A lot of the community, they do trade volume profiles, or they definitely are familiar with them, with the big influence of Frankie Candles and Jason Casper.
Oh yeah.
Crypto Face, yeah, man. So I hate whenever a great trader like yourself comes on and I'm in the opposite trade.
Hey man, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. And this isn't a position I'm planning to hold either. Like, it's just one of those where it's like, I just saw like, hey, it's the weekend's coming up. We're at support. I'll take the trade. I'm going to get out relatively quickly in theory. So I wouldn't put too much stock into it. Definitely trade against me if you want to.
No, I mean, we do have the pig nipples coming in. I would like to at least take the recent lows at 117-ish, 116.9, and just put in a significant dip there. I mean, we do have trigger waves on the 1 hour, so I would rather come down to the value area low. I mean, or at least that'll.
You're really likely to do that based on taking the weekly low, because we know inside bars are very unlikely. And we just got one. But also, if you start looking at different time frames, I like the 2 month quite a bit. The 60-day, it's kind of a shout out to Bob Lucas. He really put me onto the 60-day time frame like a few years ago. He does the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, if you guys follow that. But your 60-day is here, and you can see that you've got a lot of room in this value. So in theory, you would be looking at this, that we are looking for at least a little bit more rotation down. I was just hoping to get a little more of a bounce beforehand. But even looking at the monthly, you can see your value area lows down here. So, value is lower below these lows. I do think that we'll take these lows eventually. It's just a matter of, do we get a slight pump first, or do we just come straight down? So it doesn't matter to me either way. But big support here at the 114, 115 level on many time frames, which we'll dive into on the high time frame at some point. It's an interesting spot to be. So.
Yeah, I've got that's, if we could get down to a 115, that would be even better. But I think anything below the value area low, and I'm probably going to take it.
There you go.
Be looking for a trade the other way. Yeah, man. So that makes a lot of sense to a lot of us. That's for sure. What was that, Tony?
Magic. I got a quick question for you. So would you call that like a little bit of a relief rally after the dip, or just because price has been suppressed for the last week or so?
I would say that it's more of just like, you got to think that once the weekend comes, and that's where this bounce is coming from, all of your like big players that could realistically sell this thing down are not trading. So you're less likely to see big moves over the weekend. So to me, I look at it as whether it's relief rally, pity bounce, whatever you want to call it. I call it just like a reversion trade, where it's like, okay, it's the general like retail mindset. And I know retail is kind of a taboo word and something we probably shouldn't use, but it is one of those things where I'm just trading the local range because I know it's very likely we're going to stay in that range for at least the weekend. I just wanted to see maybe some averages. It's just a return to averages is how I look at it. And you see those before continuation in any direction. So
yeah, price range is 80% of the time. So that's where we are most of the time. So unless you're a breakout trader or one of those guys, and even if you are, then you don't get to trade very often. But if you trade the range, then you get to play a lot.
Yeah.
And it works on every time frame.
This cycle, there's been more ranging than anything. This Bitcoin cycle has been slightly different, longer consolidations, a lot more, opportunity for the range trader. So if you wanted to trade a lot this cycle, you certainly could have, as long as that was your mindset.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, it seemed like Bitcoin. I mean, if you look at a high time frame, Bitcoin's been doing that stair step, where it's stair step, and then it goes and reaches the next one, which is like, like a parabolic trend. That's how a parabolic trend works out, right? Is it stair steps up, nothing goes up and to the right just right away. It needs time to consolidate before the next pump.
Kind of looking at this, I mean, it's really a nice looking trend. I mean, just straight up and to the right. But yeah, these are
Billy,
much longer consolidations than people. Oh, I'm not showing my chart. That's fine. But yeah, we'll talk about that at some point.
Billy says show ETH Magic if you could, please.
ETH. Which chart is that in? That is in my.
You tell Billy to go mind his own business if he can't
Billy's
show
always
it.
going to ask for Cardano too. Good to have you here with us, Magic. By the way.
Yeah.
While you're looking that up, Magic. Let me get a vote from the other guys. Tony, Red, you're both going to have to vote. Should we reveal what Jimmy or Billy had to say about Jimmy?
Oh.
What do you think, Magic? Should we reveal?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about it. Let's gossip. Share the tea, guys.
Let's go.
All right, I'm not getting in trouble alone.
I really love the way Jimmy Jim doesn't wear shorts in the live stream.
AI is that's fun.
I mean, I didn't believe that I found that clip, but yeah, it's pretty nice. I see Billy showed up in the chat. you ready for us to put you back up on there?
That's pretty good. Yeah, so ETH is kind of it's a unique chart. I've had this area marked off long before this pattern was here, but this is a butterfly. I don't know if you guys do much with harmonics, but anyone that has followed me knows that I like them. They just give you general ideas of where converging levels of support and resistance are going to be. And if you combine them in specific ways, they have statistically given opportunities to traders. So I'll actually clean this chart up a little bit first before we do anything too crazy here, and we'll keep it somewhat clean. So on the weekly time frame, you can see that it looks like 46.8930 is what I got marked off there. This is from your last highs, right? And you can see we haven't closed a weekly candle above this. This is how I find my support and resistance. I look for changes of behavior. And I use SFPs specifically, as that I've been doing it for a long time. And that has been the resistance that I'm looking at right before all-time high. So just so that line makes sense. And I'm going to get rid of it here in just a second, actually, just because I want a little bit cleaner chart. And we look at the monthly. Okay, so monthly on a breakout. This is where we start looking at things and saying, what makes sense and what doesn't, to start calling for problems in the chart. Like people are saying, oh, ETH's going to go back to, whatever value it is. Who knows what people are saying these days. I've done a really poor job of staying tuned in, I guess, to what's going on in social media this cycle, which isn't a bad thing. But again, locally, monthly high taken right here becomes an SFP level at 4,091.22. And now you can see we are actively above it. So we're looking for August to close above $4,000 essentially, which should be a number that's on a lot of people's charts anyway, I would assume. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at there is, as long as we're above $4,000 at the end of August, there's a good chance here that we've got some momentum to try to carry us to that all-time high. Cause I can't imagine that we're not going to make it. We might even make it before, but timing on that pattern did have it towards Q4 still. So in terms of ETH, I really zoom out and look at the trend, and I know we're in linear scale here, but where this comes from, and I'll show you if I need to here in a second, is I look at things through like a trend-based lens. And so this is a trend-based fib extension. I think you guys are probably familiar with it. If anyone in your audience isn't familiar with it, where these points come from to get these values is I just took the old lows right here. Okay, so 81.09 from 2018. Took it to the highs that we got in November of 21, and then took that trend to the low. So all that's doing is taking a fib, projection like this, like a 618, right? It's taking the length of this move and then projecting a similar length out from that low. So that's why there's 3 points to it. So when you pull it, I know we're in log right now, but I'll switch to linear in a second. And you can do it in both linear or log, but you're just doing it like this. Okay, so that's going to give you your projection. And that's why it requires 3 points. So in terms of where we are, the gold pocket is also very relevant to where that monthly swing fail is. So when we look at this gold pocket and we say $4,000 on a monthly basis is important, this has been our macro resistance of the cycle, is that trend-based gold pocket. So if we were to overlay these moves one for one in a linear fashion, this is the gold pocket. So 38.42 to 39.96. Just call it $4,000. That's where you got to be. If you're above here, this thing is going to target the 1-to-1, which is 56.71. So that's why I have that there, and I have it in confluence with like some 3-year and 2-year pivot and expansions. So, you know, it's a zone, but it's a good spot to start looking at. Now, if you get through that zone, you know, this little box here, which coordinates on it are 56,666, not a great number, to 59.53, you know, so that's what I'm looking for. And then you have this wonderful pattern here, which is the butterfly pattern from Scott Carney, and harmonics, which is just looking for somewhere around a 786 for your B leg into some form of a retracement. In this case, you got like a full 886, which is common in this. And you're looking for a 1618 expansion and confluence with a 1272, which you have here almost to the T. So in an instance where this does actually meet this target, you're actually looking for this to reject and come back down to like 4K at that time. So it would be a dip from about 50, call it 5,500 all the way down into this zone of the chart. And timing on that is done like this for me, at least. That's kind of I wouldn't say it's a hot button issue, but everybody does it a little different, I guess. But for me, what I've done is just the way this thing is built. I think that it would be most important to focus on the relationship between X to A in that time, and then see what it looks like for C to D, because it's been such an impulse move. So you're looking to see if these are going to be complementary, I guess. And if you're into Elliott waves, I think they call them like complementary waves or something. But I don't get too far into Elliott wave, just know enough to give buzzwords like that, I guess. But it is one of those where they would be familiar with what I'm kind of talking about, reciprocal in that term. So, because I wouldn't expect the pattern to take, normally when you'd look at something like this, you'd want to see, you know, how long did it take to form the midway point. So we're looking at that EQ level again, like right here. And you can see that's going to push you all the way out as a projected target in 2028. And that's just not realistic. So you have to take more of the impulse approach, I think, in this case. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at underneath. As long as it's above 4K, send it to 5,500. You know, I think we get there sometime in quarter 4, whether it's, you know, next month or a month after. And that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. So ETH is a funny one. We'll see what happens. Do you think we dip below that 4,000?
If we do, I think it's really quick, because, you know, yeah, I think it would be very quick at that point. And if it's not, then there's some problems. But, you know, if it spent like a few days down there or even a week, it doesn't really change too much. Again, we're looking at something in like a terms of a monthly basis, in my opinion. But a week would start to get concerning below here. If you came down here and start breaking structure, specifically like the lows right here, you know, you really don't want to see those lost, because then this confirms this as a high, and you're now looking for more of a common pullback. What I would say is that if we dip down into that 4K zone, again, this resistance should operate as support, because it was resistance even without that gold pocket that you see there. So pulling something like a local gold pocket from your low to high, you can see that locally I could trade this into that support at about 3,800, and it makes sense, right? You could very easily box off and say, if I was interested in a pullback, where would I want to be interested at? I'd want to be interested here. And I could use something like these lows as a reclaim for confirmation if I didn't want to blindly set a trade there. If it comes down and wicks into here, you're just looking for something like this. And once that happens, you're looking to long here, not necessarily try to long the bottom. All about risk tolerance and risk management as always, but everybody's a little different and likes to trade differently. So some people are a little bit more, you know, adverse to risk, you know, gun shy, whatever you want to call it. And some people are just like YOLO. I trust myself, and I've never been wrong, so I'm just going to blindly do it.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so, if you've never been wrong, I mean, go for it.
Yeah, there's people out there that they'll try to make you believe that, you know. So
yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah, so, I just want to let our community know, I've been listening to Magic for 2 years, and Magic always has something great to say, whether it's good or bad about the charts. He has more realistic predictions than somebody like a Tom Lee from a hedge fund who's going to say ETH is going to $16,000. So yeah, I just, you know, it's like, where do they get these numbers at? Like, they just throw stuff out there.
My out of box target for ETH is actually between this box up here. Actually, it's 86.21 to 98.70. So if ETH like really broke out and like cleared this like 5,000 to 5,800 zone that we talked about earlier, that's my next area of interest, is up here, you know, and this pattern becomes relevant.
And that's confluent with Jason Castor too.
Yeah, and everyone was looking for this zone actually last cycle. 8,600 or so was the 1618 of the prior cycle, but it didn't hit it. It hit like a I want to say it was like the 1.382 and 1.414. So it came up a little short of its 1618, whereas Bitcoin hit its 1618. So doesn't really matter, but this was like an old cycle target, and so I guess now I would be just as excited if it went there. I don't have a huge exposure to many altcoins. Again, I'm like 80% to 85% Bitcoin only when it comes to crypto. So any allocations, even to things like ETH or others, is generally minimal in comparison to my position size of Bitcoin. So, but I'd be ecstatic if it went there. So,
yeah. Hey, Red, what do you think about? We had a few new people show up in the chat, so maybe I will let Billy say hey to the chat, and then you can take over.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
Sounds good.
Alexandra G, Jesse, Pullman, K Diggs, Mike V, Dutchy, Andy, and the entire Billy Goat Tales community makes my heart warm. Hashtag Givers Gain.
There
Makes
we
my heart
go.
Yeah, man.
well, I've never seen
Good to
anyone
be
do that
broke.
with the AI thing like midstream. Is that what you guys are doing?
Yeah.
No, we have. This is prep, so I did it before stream, but it's just.
No, it's cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's
very
just
cool.
fun. So that was, I think, Google has something called Flow that I was using for that. It's just fun. You know, we've got a few of them. Like I was hanging out with one of the otters recently, and they had something to this.
The Otter Gang loves Billy Goat Tales. No douche canoes. Hashtag Givers Gain.
Well, that is adorable. Yeah.
Tony, it sounds like we may have an echo again.
We got a little echo. Yep.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Yeah, that's fun stuff. And then we also had CZ stop by.
I am 100% bullish on Billy Goat Tales and the entire Billy Goat Tales team.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Really cool. We had a few
Yeah,
other
yeah.
celebrity. We had a handful of other celebrity endorsements here.
I love Billy Goat Tales. Hashtag Givers Gain.
I love Billy Goat Tales too. Such a magical team. Hashtag Givers Gain.
Billy Goat Tales is my favorite. So much fun. Hashtag Givers Gain.
Billy Goat Tales for the win. Hashtag Givers Gain.
Billy Goat Tales brings me joy. Hashtag Givers Gain.
I'm frozen.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I'm frozen.
Definitely fun
Yeah,
stuff,
Dave.
man.
Dave's our digital master.
Yep.
Yeah,
Very
so
cool.
we had a few other people show up in chat. We've got AZTV in there. Darren Does Things in there. Dutchy showed up. Harp's in there. We got, of course, CryptoBilly. We all know that he came in and playing a little hooky from class, but shows up for lunch. I know how you do it. It's all right. All Set showed up. Green Day Profits in there. So appreciate all you people being in there. I see you all active in the chat. Tell me what you think about our little fun things like, when Tony said.
You know, you got to have fun with it if you guys are going to do this long term. I'm glad you guys are. A lot of people don't.
Yeah, we definitely have fun with it. It's a lot of fun, and there's so many fun toys now. I mean, every day is like a Christmas. You know, when you wait for these little things. You know, you see it start to develop, and you see it start to come. You're like, oh man, that's going to be fun, and then it starts.
Eventually, you guys will have to do one where it's just like all the lore of crypto. You know, the people like the Arthur Hayeses, and eventually maybe even the scammers make an appearance. You guys can make like a little show.
Oh
South-esque.
Yeah, so Tony's got
There's,
some too. Tony, do you have one of yours handy?
I
can show one while you're getting
YouTube.
ready. Yeah, I can
Watch
show it
me.
while you're getting it ready. Let me find that one. That was it's been. I don't know if you played with any of these yet. Let me see, what do we got? Here we go. Let's look at this.
Man, I gotta say, the Billy Goat Tales team, they've built something incredible. It's like a digital campfire where everyone's just sharing and growing.
Joe, I've seen it. Tremendous work. Tremendous. These guys, they're winners. Winners attract winners, you know?
Totally. And their philosophy, like givers gain, it's like the more you give, the more you get back. It's kind of beautiful, man.
Beautiful, Joe. Beautiful. That's the kind of thinking we need to make America great again. I'm telling you, we need these guys on the team.
You're serious? You want to bring them on board?
Absolutely. They've got the magic touch, community, connection, growth. It's all there. We'll call it the Billy Goat strategy.
The Billy Goat strategy, I like it. It's got a ring to it.
Joe, you and I, we're going to make this happen. Big things, Joe. Big things.
I mean, just
Big
so
things,
much fun.
Joe.
Big thing. It was a little sus what Joe was doing, but we won't go into that. I'm not sure exactly what was going on there. This is a family-friendly show. So, Tony, you ready over there? We got one more.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right.
I'll bring mine up. Well, I'm trying to see. Oh, I had to remove Magic Internet's stuff. So this is on our YouTube, one of our shorts. And also we've done the same theme. We created Billy's likeness and voice. And so he does some of our motivational mindsets. On Fridays, we're going to use this type of character to do our motivational mindset.
Yo, Joe, you ever think about how a coffee mug can hold the secrets of the universe?
Billy, what are you even talking about? Wait, it's a mug, not a portal to another dimension.
No, hear me out, Joe. This mug, it's like crypto. It holds value, but only if you believe in it.
Wow, Billy, you've been sniffing too much blockchain dust again.
All right, but think about it. What if this mug is like a frying pan for ideas?
A frying pan? Billy, you're frying my brain right now.
Exactly, Joe. That's the point. Ideas sizzle, they pop, they transform, just like crypto.
You're a lunatic, Billy, but I can't stop listening. What's next? The mug's a time machine?
Now you're getting it, Joe. The mug is the key to everything.
Billy, I am going to need more coffee for this.
You ever just stare at a coffee mug and think, this little has seen more mornings than I have?
Billy, what are you even talking about?
I mean, look at it, Joe. Mug's been through some stuff. Probably seen more action than J.D. Vance's campaign trail.
Oh, here we go. Another J.D. Vance roast. You got a quota or something?
Nah, but if I did, I'd be rich by now. Anyway, Tuesdays, man. You ready for Frankie Candles?
Frankie friggin' Candles. That guy's like the Picasso of crypto charts. But what's with the frying pan thing?
Oh, that's his Nana, man. She makes the best sauce in the world. Like, you taste it and you see God, or at least a really good angel.
Wait, are we talking marinara sauce or some kind of crypto metaphor?
Marinara, Joe. The real sauce. Not everything's a gosh darn metaphor.
All right. Just checking. You never know with you crypto lunatics. Don't miss out Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Goats. The Candle Mafia will be there like gang.
Yeah, man. That's so much fun.
That's pretty solid. I like it.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. So we'll get some images of you and we'll have you saying all kinds of fun stuff. So you wanted to
just let me know, man. Just let me know. I'll support it. I don't care what comes out of my mouth on there.
We'll definitely make some magic.
Yeah,
some magic with all the people use a lot of different bots. I mean, some of them they've trained bots to actually think and do trades for them. Others just kind of use bots to kind of set some parameters and have it buy when it dips and sell when it goes up. Kind of like when you're looking at the weekly and stuff. Is that something that you've dug into, or what are some of your thoughts on?
Yeah, so I'm actually I've got a couple that I could automate like right now. To be honest with you, I could automate several strategies that I've made. It might be a little tricky at first, but I am working on it a little bit because AI is getting to the point where there's different types of AI services out there. I'm sure you guys know where some it's like, hey, I want to start a business. And it's like, yeah, these are the steps. Whereas other ones will be like, do you want me to do this for you? You know? Yeah. And so I'm really exploring more into like, hey, I want you to make this for me. And that, now I need a script for back testing. Please make that. And I'm trying to figure out how to get it linked up so that when people come in, I can explain to them the theory and stuff, but then I can just show them the results and be like, here's how we set it up. You guys are in here, you've definitely got access to it if you want to try to run this and, get the same returns that it's been getting, you're more than welcome to, because I'd love to share that. Like I do things with standard deviations that, I'm sure there's other traders finally using them, but, VWAP closures, I've been using those on a time basis for a long time. And I use them for the halving data specifically. It's very, very good. And so I'll track highs, lows, and closes for halvings rather than years at this point. But most notably, I guess I'll show you this one. This is the last 6 months of data that I used that we've been targeting for the next 6 months to trade off of. So let me, cool, chart is up. You guys are on it, man. And that's just a regression from last month. So this is just your trend if you were to use a one-to-one basis. If you were to change it up and go to my personal settings, it looks like this, and you can see this is more just like a general bias of trend. So general bias of trend is up. I'm gonna get rid of it. But these are just standard deviations based off of the closures of the last 6 months of data. So in 6 months, you could take a VWAP and then you could just start extrapolating it. And you're only looking for closures after the session. And you can see that it called the highs pretty much perfectly. And it would actually imply that we make new lows and probably come down to this like 114 level, right? So you can see they're pretty well respected. And this isn't like a one-off. They usually are all together, especially on the higher time frames. But yeah, you could I have a strategy that I back tested by hand, and it's just daily swing fills at these levels and then blindly trading a 3-to-1 to the next level. That's it. That's the whole sauce of it. So you have it here, and you would just be in a short trade right here looking for 114. And your stop loss is just automatically generated as a 3-to-1 risk reward based on your entry. So if you got in here, you're just looking to do this. It already knows where it wants to take profit, and you're just looking for a 3-to-1. Basically, your stop loss would go just above the high, basically. So you'd be basically in this trade. Very simple, very easy. Your win rate on that's 40%, believe it or not, and you're very profitable doing that because 40% at a 3-to-1 is pretty good. So, you don't even have to win that often. You're going to lose some trades, but statistically speaking, it accounts for that, and it's just like a positive equity curve. So you could automate that and just let a bot do something like that,
I think specifically, Tony's been playing with the grid bots. So he's been trying to set up a grid bot with certain parameters, and he did pretty successfully his first month. I think he had a 40% gain, and he's just trying to get to understand that more. And I'm sure that that's where you probably started too, was with the idea of grid bot, and you're like, you know what, I could probably build something from here.
I have no clue what a grid bot even is. I won't lie to you, man. I actually was super against automated trading for a long time until I wanted to step away from the charts more. And so I realized that I wasn't the only one. There's a lot of guys that get into it and then they get profitable, but then they find that they're at their, desk all day long, or, something changes. And so it's just an easier way to still get exposure and still have that, I feel like I have an edge in the market. How do I make it so that I take myself out of the equation? I don't want to have to be present or emotionally available for this. So, it is what it is.
It was about 3 weeks ago. I think I set like my low range at 110 and my high range at 130, and then it would take buys every, so set parameters. Like I think I had 17 channels where it would set buys, and then it'd go as it went back up, it would sell, and then so it continually bought and sold. And so I think I ended up at around 50%, Dave. When it went up to 123, I closed the bot and thought I'd set up some new parameters. So.
Very cool. Yeah, I think that's great. I think people should definitely try to move that direction.
Yeah, and one of our favorite people, Patricio,
for a long time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Patricio. Yeah, we had a community member who's been doing that. He's from Mexico. He's a good friend of ours. And so we walked through and kind of helped over a couple sessions, showed me what he's doing. So I kind of jumped in to test it out a little bit.
Very cool.
See, and he's happy to train. And I think at some point after we've gotten some results over a few months, right? You don't ever want to share something when it's brand new, but after we get some results similar to what you're thinking, kind of share with the community, let them, play around and get the feel for it themselves. So.
We've got a couple of them like that. There's a guy in our group, Twin. He was one of my first students, like back in like 2019, 2020 era, but he does a lot of bot stuff. And like, he's made like Delta indicators for us that like just basically transpose CVD data into a buy and sell bot, where it'll kind of give you an idea of when you should be looking to get in or out. And so we use that to kind of target and like help with like confluence of, if you wanted to, and you had your area mapped out already, you did your part. If that thing fires off in there, it's kind of like that extra, like, hey, there's the reaction I'm looking for, and you go forward. Same with these deviations. Like we have an indicator for it in the group. I believe it's actually on right here. So we made this for everyone so that if they wanted to get into deviations, they could. This is the year, obviously. And you can change it and go to like the quarterly, do standard deviations on a quarterly basis. And you can see that they're in different color, obviously. And I'll get rid of the ones that are on here so that it's not as confusing. But, things like this just so that they could. So, yeah, I agree. Like what you guys are doing is great then. And what he's doing in that group and helping you guys kind of, run through it, very, very good. And I think people should consider using technology to make their life a little easier. It's so readily available. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, Patricio had a proof of concept probably about 8 months ago whenever Sol was ranging. So he had it set, I think his numbers were between 80 and 120, and I think he pulled out of $500. I think maybe it was 1,500. It wasn't that much of an investment, but he pulled like 15 grand out of it. So
that's
just
awesome.
set it
Oh,
and
yeah.
forget it.
That's
And
a win.
yeah, and he's able to just do his normal stuff. You know, he has a son that he's able to tend to. He's got his passion and his business that he's able to tend to, and then of course he loves crypto, and he dedicates a lot of attention to crypto, just hanging out rather than just staring at the charts. So yeah, I do think that there's a lot of opportunity there with the new AIs that coming out, and you know, for us to build it with apps like Replit and things like that, there's a lot of opportunity for us. I would like to build like a trading app, you know, that it'll set off an alert maybe when you get a deviation below a key level, and then you can go onto the app and point out, okay, do I have a bull dip, or do I have a trigger wave, or do I have a 618, or do I have, you know, all these other things that you may have, and click them off, and then it'll, you know, highlight how many of your normal things did you highlight, and did you take the trade, and then it'll back test for you. And then eventually that same thing can call trades, you know, you can pick your trades that way after you've learned how to do it several times, you know, over and over for however long it takes you to play the game and learn it, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
But now we have that, we have opportunity now to do that, you know? It's wild with the AI, what it allows us to do. And like, we don't have to talk code.
Nice. Yeah, I like it. No, I mean, that's awesome. Getting your trading list into something like that is a really good idea. When I say that, I mean like your checklist of entry, things like that. So
yeah, that way, you know that I've got 5 of them, 5 of the 7, or 5 of the 10, or whatever it is on your list. And normally if I don't have at least 6 of the 10, I don't win the trade, or something like that, that it keeps record of it, you know, and then it just kind of trains your head without big risk. And then you can take that same information to the charts if you choose to, but it doesn't, you know, I don't have security risk or any of that, because you're not trading with real money on the app. It's just a learning tool. Hopefully.
I'm laughing at a comment that Andrea made. It says, yeah, sure, let a bot handle our finances. I guess it's better than the government. It 100% is better than the government.
I mean, it is better than the government. The truth is, I mean, when it comes to at least the driving, letting the bots drive, I'd rather them drive everybody else's car. That's for sure. You know, because I don't, you know, of course I'm super safe, but everybody else on the road, I don't know about them. So.
Very true.
So you wanted to get into some higher time frame stuff?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. In terms of what chart do I need to be on? I hope stuff. I think I need to be on EDU.
Before you get too far, you know, we've got a community full of Cardano lovers. Do you have any? Are you following Cardano? Do you have anything on that?
That is one that I get asked about on Sin City quite a bit. So let me find. There we go. My altcoins folder. It's affectionately labeled shitcoins. So don't take it personally, anybody.
Yeah. Are you doing that Sistine channel too? Are you doing that with them, or you opted out?
No, I don't. I just go on every Tuesday, Taco Tuesday it up, and that's it. But I know they do that. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I don't keep up too much, you know, probably like I should. But
I don't get to follow as much as I want. I don't get to go to that show.
There's just too much going on, man. Like with there's so many new creators, and there's very few that I really want to like actually work with. So it's one of those things where I've seen the really good side of, you know, this environment, like networking with people like you guys, and I've seen unfortunately the ugly side far too many times. So it's just one of those where I'm pretty unplugged, I guess, when it comes to social media, which you know, for better or worse, I guess.
I think there's probably an argument for both sides. Probably better arguments for it's better for you side.
Yeah, I mean, if you can make the right connections, it's good. I think for sure. Yeah. In terms of Cardano, so 94.5 cents has been kind of a level I've been harping on. People are, if they've been following that show, are tired of hearing me talk about it. But again, SFP level going back, I believe it's a monthly SFP and also like a yearly. Right here from like one of the first peaks in 2017, and then with support before it broke, right? And so that's where we are now. We're just chopping around it, lined up really nicely with the gold pocket here, and actually was a really nice trade to the downside back to support, which is our blue line here, which is your 2024 open and a 6-month SFP level at the 2023 highs. You had your April highs here. So yeah, Cardano is it's doing all right, man. Like it needs to be above 94.5 cents. If you get above here and you start living here like weekly and monthly basis, my next targets become, you know, just above us at 130. And, you know, 139. But if you zoom out and we look at things on the macro and we say, where is Cardano in terms of a retracement? If we know the average retracement, whether it's Dow's theory or you just want to stick to fibs, if you're doing Dow's theory, you're looking 50%. So, your cycle high to low, you're looking to crack this 134 level, which above 94 cents, that's generally where you go. You go to here. If you get above there, I'm looking more for $2, but you could make an argument, I'm sure, for the 50% mark, which is just, again, Dow's theory, 50% correction at a minimum 169. But to me, it becomes a question of, I'm going to get rid of the cycle high to low since we're in log here. If we can crack this 130 to 139 level, can we make it support? And if we can you make a new all-time high? Because I kind of have the belief that if we get as high as $2, that it's probably just going to make a new all-time high, So at that point, you're looking for whatever your, price targets are for this asset. But you really got to be above 130 to make that happen. So the very first step is this 94.5 cent level. And that's the one I'm watching. It's been historically very relevant, both on weekly, monthly timeframes. And we've spent a lot of time messing around with it here since about, when did we first come in contact? December of 24. So 8 months is how long it's been since we've rejected off of it and now starting to come back and, tinker around on it and hopefully push through. And if you do, as you can see, this is kind of your launch pad. So guys, I guess you could call it $1 even if you wanted to. $1 is really important, but like 94.5 is the exact level I've had on my chart. So
yeah, that seems to line up with the fib from the all-time high. So like you were saying, 130 is important. So that's the 382, right? Yep. And then you've got that golden pocket up there at $2. And then you have your 786. You got to get past the 245, 250. So that lines up. Everything lines up with what you're saying. With just one look at it.
Cardano, you got to think the sellers had a chance on Cardano here to really actually push lower, and they just didn't do it. That was really the big thing. Is you can see right here you've made a low into support, a low. You then took that low and broke it. Right, you broke down and you re-challenged it. However, failed to push. And when you see that, it's kind of like it's like dropping the ball. It's a weakness on one side of the market, and it was sellers. So you would expect to see a push back to range highs after something like that, especially after spending 1, 2, 3 formal months down here with months in between consolidating. You would expect this to try to range high again. So I think you'll see $1.30 again, especially if it's living back above this 94.5 cents, kind of like your middle of the road zone. Above here, you go to the high of the range, because as of right now, this is your range, right? This is your range. So that's where I'm at on it. It's a
I took a low leverage shot when it was down at that POC. So I got in at around 73, but then it dipped hard, almost took me out at 68 cents, 69 cents. But we've had a good rally since.
The altcoin dips can be quite hard. They can really wreak havoc on a portfolio if stop losses are too tight or if there's too much leverage for some people. But as a whole, the chart itself, it's not a terrible chart. There's not a ton of data here. It's not like we have data going back to like 2010, like Bitcoin style. But you can see that, in terms of like the overall highs and lows, if this is confirmed as a low, which I think it will be, you're looking at potentially something that's trying to make a new high inside of a pattern here. And as of right now, it is in higher lows. And you don't have a confirmed high in terms of like a macro yet, but this looks like it's going to at least attempt. So we'll see. If it were to reverse from here and confirm this is a lower high, you would expect a new low at that point. You'd expect this to be taken. There's just no weakness in the chart to suggest that right now.
Yeah. And you would, like you said, or, you would expect it at a more significant level too. You wouldn't expect it just right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. So don't let me interrupt you with the ADA, but I knew we had some guys before you hit the longer time frames.
I want my $2.
What do you say?
I want my $2.
You want my $2? I want $2 for you too.
I want $2.
Yeah, no, I mean, I that's all I've got on ADA. I actually don't own ADA. I full disclosure, it's nothing personal to ADA. It's just I missed my buy zone by like a penny at the bottom, and I'm one of those people. Like right here, this was my buy zone. I know when it came down, that was my secondary buy. This was my first buy, was 20.4, and it came down to 22 cents. So I missed it by like 1.6 cents. I was targeting here, and it didn't happen, so I just didn't buy. I'm one of those people. I just don't buy if I don't get what I want.
There you go.
At least on altcoins anyway. It is
Yeah,
what
and
it
I'm
is.
sure there were other things that did hit your zone that you did.
Yeah, no,
I'm sure
definitely.
you
I got a
would
bunch of linked stuff like that. Like I got some that, you know, ETH was the one that I got to pick up pretty relatively cheap. People were like, you don't get to buy the bottom. I was like, you know what? You don't often, but if I'm going to, I'm gonna try to buy the exact bottom if I can. And if I can't, I usually just don't mess with it. I just don't have the bandwidth to like manage positions with multiple assets at this point. Like my attention span to altcoins is very limited. I view a lot of them as disposable, and I don't know enough about them to make educated fundamental statements about them. So to me, it's just one of those where I stick to what I know and what the market really revolves around, and that's primarily Bitcoin. So.
And the truth is, a lot of the times, the educated fundamental analysis is a bunch of fluff or, you know, manufactured fundamentals. You know, it's not really stuff that's actually going on. Well, we have these many transactions, or we're solving this world problem, or we're doing this. No, you're not. You're really not. You're just really
it's all
not.
marketing, man. It's just marketing. They're just trying to get you to buy it. That's it.
Yeah, and it's poor marketing, you know. But we'll see. I don't think that there's a lot of the altcoins that even make it back to Golden Pocket. We'll see. But I think that there's a whole list of them that aren't going to get there. If the president hasn't said your name, you're in big trouble, unless you're new.
Yeah, that's true.
And,
Bitcoin on the high time frames, though, I will dive into that because otherwise I get off topic. This is actually my cycle to cycle chart.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about like do you have a plan? Yeah, I put this together before the cycle started almost. Like once I knew the low was likely in, this is about where I started planning for it. So this was my prior cycle prediction for a high. Actually, was 61,247 to 73,000. It was a 19.59% window. It was based off of Fib convergences, essentially. It's where the fabled 73,244 level actually came in when I was putting it over here for us to have fun with, which was basically the exact high over here because it was such a massive area. So doing similar things and looking at similar extrapolations, I had actually put, it was 22.05% for this zone. But that zone was $101,660.93 to $124,077.02. That was where I put what I was expecting for a high if we cracked 73,244. This is a big if. You had to get through this prior cycle, obviously. And where we are time-wise, it's, you know, there's a chance that we do go higher still. So I haven't sold anything. I got very close. This dip here is an interesting one. That was a very specific setup. We can talk about that later, but it was just, you know, looking back at quarterly candles, you could have seen this coming pretty quickly. But where we are, we're closing in on the end of the cycle in October. Every Bitcoin cycle, at least, you know, from 2016 to 2020 to the 21 highs, obviously, was exactly the same in length. I don't know that we should necessarily expect that all the time. But I would say that if we start breaking down below like the $100,000 barrier here, that more than likely we've reached our limit here, and that this box is going to be a box again that I probably should have just blindly traded. But you know, we don't know that yet. So it's one of those things where I'm still optimistic that we'll make new highs. I don't see any reason why we won't, because weakness hasn't entered the chart. Now, if you look at just our weekly closures here, you will see that that is where the local weakness will enter the charts below 114. Below 114, and it looks like you're going to be dipping, you know. So we do want to see this consolidation begin to hold. One other thing that I like to do is, I don't know if it's this one. So I track everything based on having data rather than time data sometimes. I think that when you're looking at an asset like this, it's better to get a big picture. So I went ahead and went through and did all of the prior halvings and just worked them out in terms of like averages, and then extrapolated them in terms of resistance and support zones based on, you know, Fibonacci standards and pivots, and then based on like standard pivot equations. So, you know, when you're looking at something, this is your halving pivot, right? The halving pivot has been amazing, and it's been one of the best things that you can actually trade. It's actually given you the low in almost every single cycle. Exactly. And all it is high low close of that session divided by 3. We're not doing anything crazy, no rocket science to it. As soon as you hit it and you're above it, it's go time, right? Same thing here. And then going back to where we are now in this current cycle, it was a big part of why I wanted to see 49K. And since we're far removed from that, you can see that we missed the pivot by a C hair, if you will. It's not a far cry. What was it? 49,513, and this pivot was sitting at 48,598. So about $1,000. But what's $1,000 amongst friends? I think that's the Ben Cohen spiel, right? So this was essentially your low and kind of gave you the push. And so from here, you've had some cycles when you start looking at things. I prefer the standard deviation model rather than using fibs. But in this case, you'd start looking at things like your R1 and R2 standard, which we have up there. So let me go back to the older ones. And we'll look at 2016. Oh, that's the 382. That's actually the fib model. So it's really, once you get above the R2, it's your last major dip before this thing just kind of goes absolutely ballistic into its high late in the season, right? Late in the cycle. And we've seen the same thing again here as well. So that standard deviation 2 has been just absolutely key, right? And you can see it here, break above, move into the highs, support, highs, and then when you give it up, it's just kind of, all she wrote. And we can look at the same type of thing here. Now, things don't have to always go the same, but I think when you're looking at 4 years of data in a chunk, that the levels become really clean and really easy to operate off of. So this is your halving pivot. We go into the R1 at 88,000, and that R2 is at 114. You can see that it did operate as support and resistance until broke above, right? The R1 did anyway, and now you're operating as support on that R2. And we know that historically, we want to see the R2 as support. So it's a big level for me, just looking at things and how things have played out. Also, just the importance of it here locally. I would like to see 114 continue to hold if we're going to see immediate continuation of this upward trend going into the end of the cycle.
All right. So basically, according to our thumbnail, buy or sell now. You're saying, yeah, not yet.
Not quite. I'm waiting a little bit. There's a couple different things you can do as well to tell if you wanted to buy or sell, and I'm going to have to adapt that at some point. But is it in this one or did I move it? I think it's over. Yeah, I think it's in this folder. I've got too many charts and folders. I try to keep them segmented based on like what I'm doing, but it's tough because I probably have like 1,000 folders at this point between them, and that's just on Bitcoin.
Yeah, no big deal. While you're doing that, we'd like to say hey to all the people over there on X. It looks like we broke 100 to 114 viewers on X.
Sweet.
Good to have you guys there. Hopefully one day we'll get our chat fixed so we can see what you guys are saying over there. 37 in our live here, so we're excited about that.
Very good. That's actually pretty cool. I've heard X is actually growing quite a bit in terms of like what people are streaming and looking at. So that's awesome. Yeah. I like the platform.
I just wish that they would make it easier for interaction, for the chat, for the super chats, for the emojis, for all the fun stuff. I wish they would make it a little bit easier over there. And I'm sure that's what he's working on. And I'm sure that product is coming. But, the viewers are amazing. I just wish that we were able to interact more with them over there on the X side of things.
I remember where this is. I remember where this is now. At least I'm pretty sure. Sorry, I was working on I was using the 200-week moving average and just doing multiples of it and like running back tests on if it was support or resistance, which actually was very well founded. Just using the 2x multiplier for the 200-week for this cycle. If you put it on at major highs, it's been really good. But this is affectionately known as the PP zone, which I know is childish, but again, you have to have fun. And the reason it's named PP is because it's 2 pivots combined. So you're looking at a 6-month pivot and a yearly pivot, and then you're taking that and you're just basically looking at the trend and saying, okay, if you're above these 2 major horizontal averages from the prior session, things are looking good. But the moment you lose them post halving, that has been when the cycle is over. So pulling them up, you can see that this was our 2025 one here. And so this is where I said I got really close to being like, hey, the cycle's over, and it was right here. Now, you had a really specific setup that went into this that, told us we were going to see this zone. The question was what happens when we got there? And you obviously got a great reaction. So, but below this, if you were to see post halving, because you got to remember our halving was here, I believe, back in May 11th was the halving. You're back above the 2020 PB zone, the 6-month and yearly pivot zone. So You are above the major averages you need to be above. Price is good. Even when we dipped all the way to that R2 we talked about at 28K here last cycle, you were above the 2021 zone because the 12 and 6 month was so far away, which maybe would have been a good indication that you're so stretched from the average from the prior year that you should have expected this massive correction. But, who knows? You opened up below the 2022. So the top was already in, obviously. So this was one of those where it's like, it didn't really help me at the top, but it helped me get my short here. This is really where I got into my positions to short this to the lows. So I had to remain pretty patient to do that. There were no impulse moves here in terms of like what I was doing. I did take this short here, but I closed it early knowing that this was going to be a setup and I wanted a clean slate. And so I took this short and I just wrote it down. Now, once you reclaimed it here, which this was a major target for me about at 16,621 was when I opened up my first leveraged positions for longs. Even though I was still technically in my leverage short from here, I closed it out once we reclaimed about 18K. Now, once you entered this, you're looking to go to the yearly average, which was in this box, but it was also your 6 month average. It held as support. And now we're just targeting the halving. Where is the halving at? Because post halving is when this box becomes really relevant. And it was April when we had the halving. It was like somewhere right here. You can see we're well above the average. We came back above, came back to it post halving. We're still holding it as support. So had we lost this, for me, that would have been signs that the cycle was likely ending. But in this case, that didn't happen. So, that's neither here nor there. Now, the one thing that you can do with this is how does it become actionable in every single post-halving zone? Like if we lose, you can see here's 2016. Obviously, we had the halving back here. I can't remember exactly what day it was, but you have your halving, you're above the 16 PB zone. Even right here, you tested in 2017 and again in 2018, just like what happened in 2021 post-halving. We actually open up, give it a back test. And this is where you could have really hedged short from those 20K highs and been like, okay, my model says now that this is resistance. And as long as we're below it, bear market is coming. And what you can do is start targeting things like the gold pocket using really basic technical analysis. And so what you'll actually, I have a folder for this. I have a folder for everything, right? It says PP to the GP. Your audience is going to be like, this guy can't be real.
Well, we oftentimes watch Alex O in the morning, and him and Vegas Claw, they talk about PP and your eye data. So we get it.
There you go. But so you can see here, like even going back to the 2014 highs post halving, you lose the PP zone. Where do you go? You go to the gold pocket, right? At a minimum. So we know that we can extrapolate that to the next cycle. It just gives you a general idea of, how far can this really dip? Are these numbers realistic when people start calling for bear market targets? This one was all the way at 7K. So you would have been up here at $12,000 going, man, this thing's going to get cut in half. And that's a really good indication of like, all right, things have really changed here. This asset may have topped for a while. Did it give you the exact lows? It really depends on how you use fibs. But if you started buying at 7 down to 3, your average is somewhere in like the 5. You're probably pretty happy with that average, right? So same thing over here, where that if we were to, look at it again right here, PP to GP, this was your trade. It was a nice trade. In this case, you were looking for at least 28 to 26. Me, I was looking for 18,000. I believe it was 247. There was a NPOC there specifically on a quarterly chart that I knew was a target for me that if it got filled, I would be happy with. So that's why 18K was kind of relevant for me. In this case here, we'd have to see where the high is. Like the current high here on this chart is 124, 448, 49. 49. And it would tell you that you'd be targeting like the mid 50s, that's if the high was in. We don't know that, right? We don't know at all. When I started talking about this, price was only back here. I was just bringing it up as an example to let them know, like, hey, as long as we're above this zone, we're targeting upwards. But if we lose it, we are targeting, this area of the chart. So if the high was in right now and we did something and lost the PP zone, you're looking for mid 50s at a minimum at that point. So the problem is we're so far removed from it. Is it really actionable? Do I really need to wait for $83,000 to have that type of a outlook on price? And you don't. And there's a really cool way to do it again, yet with pivots. And again, we're going to stack them. So you have your bi-quarterly pivot, your 6 month pivot, And then I would look at our quarterly pivot. And the reason you're looking at both of them is because they are the same value right now. And that almost never happens. So same value for the pivots. And since we have the same value, I'm going to put the price for that one on the right so that you can see that they are different, but they are the same pivot. They're the same zone. Anytime you're above the 6 month or the quarterly, when they're the same price, it operates very similarly how the 6 month and yearly did. So in this case, these are rarely going to be the same, but when they are, it's a very big tell on where we're at. If we are below a 6 month and quarterly pivot that are identical, it's no bueno. Like you're pretty much going to the R2 of that in most cases, I believe. I don't remember if that was traditional or fib. It's been a while. Or not R2, the S2, excuse me. Yeah, which puts you down at 60K. So if you lose about 100K, which was the zone we looked at when we looked at our trend-based zones, in this case now it's our 6 month and our quarterly pivot. If we were to lose 97, 874 it looks like, your immediate bias does become about 60. And we know that if we are even making that move, that our bias from earlier setup that we just talked about is actually right here. So, you're at a minimum going, man, if we give up 100K, I am boxing this area off. And this is where I'm interested in price again. Unless something happens that changes my mind, which, you have to have that. But those are hypotheticals, at that time, like, okay, if this happens, in that scenario, then I need to change my plan. But that's how my high time frame plan would start to come together in that scenario. But for right now, I didn't even realize this is the R1 of that shared pivot, but very interesting. So I'm just letting us
and just logic of that makes sense, right? So if we get down close to the 100, that probably the momentum or the short squeeze or the long, whatever it is, the squeeze is going to take us down a little bit sub 100. Which makes sense, right? And so that 97, that makes sense. If we start losing that heavily, pay attention. We might go even farther. Yeah. So what you're saying, I mean, in a logical sense of the term, that definitely makes sense. And it looks like there's a dilemma in the chat. So I'm going to let you be the tiebreaker, ma'am, since you're so close over there at Sin City Crypto. So Billy's saying that, Jimmy's got the keys to the club. So we can't open the club whenever Jimmy's not here. But then we've got the chat, and the chat really wants the club to be open. So what I'm saying is, well, just because we don't have the keys, it doesn't mean we can't kick the door open. So
we can push the button.
What do you say, ma'am? Do you think we should just kick the door open and go in the club?
Hey, man, it's I think it's Sunday, and you might as well. I mean,
let's do it. Yeah, open a club.
Community cam going whenever the club opens. It'd be cool if we had like a community cam that would show everybody's stuff.
Yeah. We'll have to get people sending in their videos of them dancing to the club being open at home.
Right.
That's so much fun.
No shoes, no shirt, no service, though. You guys got to keep it closed if you send that in. So.
So much fun. I think we probably had a couple more topics to go over, didn't we, Shoni, before
Yeah, go ahead. I got nothing planned, so I'm blocked off.
I'm gonna jump over to topic 4 first that we had because Redman did some research and brought us a topic today. So let's jump into talking about the OKB price pump and tokenomics. OKB pumped 170% in an hour. What's driving the surge? We can break it down. Of course, Red, you've got more maybe knowledge and information on this, so I'll let you bring that to you. But why did OKB pump? It got a token burn and a new layer of confidence.
No, Tony, and you know what too is we're going to involve the community in this. I know what Dave's opinion on this whole thing is. He's not wrong. He's not right, or he's
Well, hey, wait a minute.
So we'll
wait a minute.
Definitely not wrong, though. You're definitely not wrong, though, Dave. I 100% agree with you in your assessment. But no, what happened was, and I was going to ask the community about this. What do you guys feel about a token, an exchange token, basically cutting their supply in half and making the price go through the roof because of the tokenomics? What they did was August 13th, they went ahead and cut their supply by 50%, capping it at a fixed 21 million tokens with no future minting or manual burns allowed. So this is it. All right. So what they did was it exploded 1,300%. It went from $40 to $50 all the way up to $142. I think right now it is sitting at, let's see here. I just had it up. Yeah, there it is. Right now it's sitting at $128.21, which is considerable, because I thought if I was holding it at $45 and this thing went to, $145, which on here it says $120, but if it went to $120, I'd be selling that puppy, because that's a heck of a markup, right? So, and I'd be taking profits. But this thing is held. It's consolidating right now, and it's actually got another little pump to the upside. So the volatility is to the upside, not the downside, with this half, cutting their tokenomics in half, essentially. And Magic Internet money.
What'd they do, Jeff? What do you mean they're cutting their tokenomics in half? What happened?
They basically burned half their tokens. So what they did was they made
the main wallet of the whole asset burned half the tokens, half of the available tokens.
Well, that's essentially what happened. Yeah. So they slashed their total supply. So those half of their total supply is now unusable. It's in a wallet. It's disappeared, basically. And so the circulating supply is 50% of what it used to be, and that made the price surge. And then on top of that, people were probably buying in and trying to take advantage. Some reports noted intraday gains as high as 218% or 172 in just 4 hours. By August 17th, the token was still showing strong momentum, with additional daily gains of around 12 to 24%. Amid broader market optimism. So contributing factors included concurrent ecosystem upgrades, such as enhancement to OKX Polygon-powered X-layer network. Polygon's not going away. Polygon's making moves. They're making moves. They're coming out with their RWA here pretty soon. They're not going away. The network for better scalability and retirement of the older XKT chain, with XKT tokens being swapped directly for XKB. This consolidation boosted XKB's utility and demand within the XKX or OKX ecosystem. Additionally, positive market sentiment around centralized exchange tokens, comparison to BNB or BGB pumps, and increased trading activity, including perpetual futures, amplified the volatility and FOMO. And no other major external events like partnerships or regulatory news appear to have directly triggered the pump based on available data, is what brought it.
Yeah. So like we were talking behind the scenes, Red, if the main wallet in a coin wants to burn half of their stuff, as a holder, I'm down. Burn it.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. What I don't want you to do is, if you have all these assets and you just pump them into the system, right? And you're just putting them up. That's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to dump on our heads, but if you want to burn them.
Or infinite supply. Ethereum, Polygon, Matic is now infinite supply. Ethereum is now infinite supply. There is no circulating supply. So, I looked at this like a little bit of manipulation on OKX's part. And I don't really have a high value of exchange tokens ever since FTX anyways. I'm not getting into this coin. If you do and you make big profit off it, good for you. But I personally just stay away from exchange tokens.
And isn't this exactly opposite of what CRO token did a few months back whenever they were making deals with Trump, and they actually
increased.
Yeah, so they took all their burned tokens. What was it, 70? Whatever, they increased their supply by 70% or something like that. So if I had my choice, I would burn your tokens over add the tokens. I mean, it makes sense as a holder. I don't really know how it would negatively affect the ecosystem. I mean, it sounded like it created some FOMO, and it sounded like they've maintained the price and even hit a new all-time high since the burn. So
in the short term, it's proved to be a good move in the short term. We'll have to wait and see what the long-term implications of this are. And another thing too is we're gonna have to wait on Crow. You know, Crow has had a 20% increase in the last month for their price action has been positive.
Yeah,
so even though they added,
whoever they knew what they were doing. I mean,
even though they added all those coins, still positive price action for Crow. So,
ma'am, what do you think?
I don't keep up too much. I think that anytime you start adding tokens, though, and they have the ability to unburn and burn things, I'm just like, that's why I like Bitcoin more and more, because you can't do that. You know, I look at everything that you guys just said as it's viable, but to me, you know, this industry is built on people that are basically trying to either, you know, be ahead of insider knowledge almost with that, because the people that are getting rich off that are the ones that already knew it was going to happen. And I would find it very hard to believe that people weren't in the know. So, I think you can make money doing it. I just would never base my investment thesis off of being out in front of stuff like that. You know what I mean? Too risky 100%. For me. So,
and I think that's one of the things that a lot of us have learned, and we didn't think we would probably ever learn, because we, you know, being a Bitcoin maxi seems to have such a negative connotation. But as you grow in the space, and as you get to learn that the asset that performs time and time and time and time and time again is Bitcoin, and everything else doesn't really, then it's hard not to become a Bitcoin maxi in that sense.
My thing is, it's a bad connotation because it gets it from the people that, you know, they, like I say, I'm a Bitcoin maxi, and occasionally I rile people up on the internet because it's fun and it's the internet, but it's for the most part because they try to make themselves sound smarter or more intelligent, or that you're stupid because you don't agree with me and you believe in whatever they believe in terms of a project or investment thesis. But in reality, to me, it just comes down to risk tolerance, and it's riskier to be on that avenue. And that's something that I think over time, if you get burned or you see people getting burned, you become a Bitcoin maximalist because your risk tolerance starts to shift and mature a little bit, and you're less gambling and more, okay, this is a, you know, still technically has risk, but the risk is much lower. The reward is not, you know, we're not going to 100x or anything, but I'll take gains over, you know, losing all my money any day of the week, you know? Like, that's why when people say
I think
traditional market's boring, it's like, it's really not though. Like if you just invested in traditional market, like you could retire early, you know, it's crazy to me.
I think anytime you can make an asset inflate or deflate, it's a form
US
of manipulation. So we got into
US
crypto
dollar.
to escape that, right? We got into crypto to escape that kind of stuff, and there, you know, it just, I don't know, it just sounds like it's an SEC problem, and they're going to get in trouble again with the SEC. So
I hope so.
It's just a matter of time.
I mean, is anybody going to get in trouble with the SEC during this?
It's just
fun.
Not with Trump in power, no.
I don't think so. I think they were going to be fine. I mean, if the president of the United States can rug a meme coin, come on, and his buddies over there in Argentina can do the same thing. Too. Yeah, and his whole family's just over there banking it up, and all the people that wish they were going to get rich didn't. You know,
I didn't get into Trump coin.
I didn't. Make sure we're playing the long game though, because one administration will be done. I said just make sure we're playing the long game and not just banking on one administration.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, because I don't know where it goes from here when Trump gets out of there. I mean, I haven't seen a personality like this before, much less a personality like his in office. And just to think what's coming next, I mean, what we almost had to deal with was pretty scary. So we'll see what happens next. What's really I look forward to is many decades in the future when Barron takes control. That guy's gonna really
let's just make AI the president. Let's just cut it out altogether.
I mean, in some cases, you know, that could be an argument. I mean, humans are flawed.
I mean, that's part of the tinfoil hat, conspiracy is that people think that governments are going to be competing with AI, you know, eventually.
Yeah. Supposedly it's going to tell us how stupid our governments are, and then we won't have respect for them anymore. So it's setting itself up pretty well. But hey, look, AI.
Good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say AI is definitely dug itself deep into my life. So it's something that I'm gonna use it as a tool. I know that every tool has more sides than one, but I'm gonna use it for the best to create good that I can. You know,
I mean, you're going to
until we
have
get
to
to that
because
point.
it's cat's out of the bag with AI. You know, it's
Yeah.
you can't put that thing away now. It's done. Like Elon's even said it himself, it's too late. Like we couldn't get rid of it if we wanted to, probably. So
Yeah,
might
I
as
mean, I don't
well.
think, yeah, that it would be impossible. And I'm glad well, hopefully I'm glad. I mean, at this point in time, with what we know about Elon, I'm glad that he jumped into the race and decided to be part of the decision making rather than just a spectator. So I'm glad that he was involved, at least at this point. We'll have to see how it all plays out in the long run. You know, if he really is, you know, a species and really does love the human race, or does he not? We'll have to just see. You
We
know?
never know. It's how villains are born.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So normally we get into Jimmy Jim's final thoughts, and he normally takes us into stuff that he's doing, like he's doing his sports cards, and he was doing Legos for a long time. He's still definitely heavily into them, but sports cards is taking up a lot of his, or trading cards is taking up a lot of his time. And you said that you are doing your fiat mine with furniture. What are you doing as a hobby? I know you have dogs. I know you love your dogs. Or your
Kids,
dog.
man.
Huh?
Yeah, dog. You know, I got my kids. My daughter is into sports, so I'm going to help out coach her soccer team this year. And you know, I do men's league softball myself every Monday. I get down on some double headers, and yeah, that's it. You know, I go for runs. Like when I get off of here, I'm gonna go skip some rope, hit some miles on the pavement outside, and then walk my dog and make some food. I like to meal prep. I make my dog's food. You know, I just stay busy, whatever I can do. And nothing crazy. Kind of boring, actually.
What does a typical day in the life of Mem eating look like?
Depends, but generally I'll usually open up with like lots of eggs, some cheese. At lunch, I'm a really big coleslaw guy. I like cabbage a lot, but I don't like chopping it up. So I use coleslaw and broccoli slaw as my like filler when I'm in cut season, where it's like the summer and I'm trying to lose some weight. So I'll generally do that with crock potted chicken that I make with like adobo sauce and chili peppers. Toss it on there and then just throw back random vegetables and fruit throughout the day. But pretty heavy on meat. I'll be honest. I eat a lot of red meat, probably more than I should, but it's done me all right now.
So how are you? The coleslaw, is that super high in sugar, or do you make it a different way? No?
It's just no. I get raw coleslaw like out of the bag. Like you can just get it where it's just cabbage and carrots just shredded, and I just throw it in there. I don't put like, if I do dressing, I usually just squeeze lemon and like black pepper on something, and I call that enough, you know. And so I just get into that. And some people probably say it's boring, but you know, I don't care. Occasionally I do break though, where I'll eat like 12 tacos or something, and you know, we all have those moments. You know, I did that the other day. I ate, I think, an entire order of fajitas and then half of a pizza. So, but
I think that's part of it. Yeah, look, we try to make the right decisions as often as we can, but sometimes the right decision is eat a freaking pizza.
Yeah, and then after that, you go back to normal. You know.
Yeah,
So,
it's not the end of the world if you have a pizza. Sure not.
But yeah. Otherwise, I just hang out with my kids, man. Like whatever they're into, I'm into. You know, camping season's probably coming to an end here, but did have some family stuff. Had to go home for some funerals, which kind of sucks. So that's kind of eating up some time, but. Otherwise, you know, life is, I live in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, and I keep it boring, you know? So it's like, people don't want to hear that. They expect people to be like, you know, oh, I trade and like make money from Bitcoin. So I live this extravagant lifestyle, but like, I live a really small, like hometown type of lifestyle. Like I'd rather spend nights in or like go to my kid's soccer game or softball game and do anything else. So.
Yeah, death is ugly, but life is beautiful. So doing the soccer thing on the weekends with the kids, that's fun. I used to do it with my little brothers. I would do the referees, so that's a lot of fun. We are going to close up. We appreciate you coming in today. It's such a great show, man. Such a great flow. We appreciate everything that you shared with us and everything that you brought with us. We appreciate your attitude. We appreciate all of that. We appreciate what you give to the community overall. We appreciate you. We really thank you. What was that, Tony?
The last question is the one right below me, which is when magic internet money emoji. So if you have an emoji in mind, we'd love to make it for you. You can always come back. Of course,
I'll have to think about that one. I've never thought about it.
All right.
You know, I've
never been a casting couch to me.
Yeah, the casting couch. I've never been an emoji. I had like an online persona in the bear market, and it was just Danny McBride. That's who my profile picture goes to when bear market comes, and I turn into that guy, and I just make memes and jokes all day. So we'll see.
Beautiful. All right, everybody in the audience, please remember to go check out Keith. I think we're going to forward you right there right after this. The Crypto Coin Mindset is going to have a premiere episode. I don't think Jimmy or Billy's going to be on there, but we are going to send you right over there. So drop your go-to chat.
Well, we had a couple super chats. I just want to shout out the super chats and the memberships. Poman purchased 30 memberships during the stream much earlier on. It was it was during Magic Internet Money's analysis and stuff, so I didn't want to jump in. But thank you, Poman, who will also be at the Lake House in October at our vacation trip with the Billy Goat Tales.
It's weekend at Billy's.
Also, weekend at Billy's, and then Tradefly gave it $1.99 super chat. He jumped in a little bit earlier, so thank you, Tradefly. So appreciate y'all. And we might have a little bit of a video that maybe I put out a little bit later today. I do want to share really quickly. I want to show Magic Internet Money where we're staying. Actually, it's not where we're staying, but it's the one I like to show. That one. It's the one we like to share. We're gonna all there you go. Group into this one tent with Poman. And
sleep in the middle.
Here, look at the beautiful bathroom facilities. No, that's not where we're staying. That's not where we're staying. But anyways, we're going to Lake Hartwell in October. If you have an Easter egg every year, a drawing on Billy Goat Tales, we're going to have one of you in our community that has an Easter egg. We're going to welcome you to join us on that trip as a team. So I want to thank you all for being here, and
beautiful.
We love you, man.
Yeah, can't wait for it.
All right, y'all. All right, next time. Till next time. See you on Tuesday. #.
Tuesday night.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Magic.